Hey there. In this video, I'm going to talk about an updated version. I'm going to show you rather an updated version of the share of search analysis tool that I built just like a couple of weeks back. I'd shared that also on YouTube and interacted with a lot of people on LinkedIn. Quite a few of them asked me if it's possible to actually also include Amazon because the previous version only had Google Ads, or rather Google Ads keyword planner data, which is basically the source for keyword data. So just to give a recap, what share of search really is, share of search is simply the share of searches for your for a specific brand relative to the total number of searches in all for all the brands in that particular category. So that's basically share of search, very simply. So it's only branded search that we're talking about, and a famous econometrics researchers like Les Binet, they have actually found out that this share of search is a very good proxy metric for understanding the extent of the extent of share of market. Essentially, it's very closely correlated to that, and is in fact a leading indicator of share of market, and is also very closely related to share of voice, which is a more traditional term that has been used for a while in the media industry to understand the level of market penetration through paid ads, through ad spend, or basically how much of the market you have captured. So this is basically a good indicator for brand saliency, mental availability. There can be many names, but exactly how you define it, how you conceptualize it may vary a bit, but that's basically the mathematical concept like I described. So the best resource for this is obviously Google Ads keyword planner, because that's the largest search engine in the world, and I have used the API of that to pull in data for branded terms. So that was already present, and you'll see that in this example it's already running. By the way, this requires API connections, and you have to provide certain inputs that have partly I've shown that in the previous video. But if you need help with that, further help, do don't hesitate to reach out to me via the comments, and yeah, you can obviously connect with me on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, this is for instance that share of search for Google using that keyword planner API data, and you can see the share of search, the total volume, and we are basically searching for the particular target brand, which is Nike. That's our target brand here. As you can see, so you get the volume by brand, and you get this nice bar graphs and also the pie chart to see the volume and the respective market share for each of these. And you can see Nike is obviously the market leader, which is why its market rank is number one. And you have to define the brands basically in that category. This app won't be doing that for you. You will have to come up with the names. So obviously this will work much better for really big brands. And if it's not a big brand, then you have to do your research, and you have to figure out all the important competitors so that you can get a good idea of the market share, because or share of search rather. So because the share, in the denominator, that's how the ratio is going to be defined. It's going to basically sum up the brand search volume for the brands that you provide as its competitors. So if you leave out any important ones, then you're going to get a misleading picture of share of search. But that's also kind of its drawback in a sense. There's also going to be other future versions, by the way, in this, where I'm going to add filters. Okay. By filters, I mean they're going to be, even if it's branded searches. So suppose if you look at this volume here, this volume given here for these respective brands, if I hover over it here, and you will see that figure that you get here, there's actually a table here that gives volumes. This is for all branded terms that contains Nike. Now there are going to be some which may not be particularly relevant, and you don't really want to calculate that to understand the true market capture picture, because that may be an overlapping of people who have already been counted for other searches. So that may be just double counting given the kind of searches, the nature of the searches. Maybe it's about customer support, or again, I mean, this will vary from brand to brand. This may vary even from industry to industry, the nature of the industry. More service oriented industries, for them, the branded searches might be very customer centric as well, customer service centric rather, and therefore you might want to exclude them, because that may unnecessarily make the market share look, or the share of search look, inflated. So those kind of filters, the option for adding them manually will be given here. So that's basically a contextual knowledge which has to be applied. So that's your share of search. This was already there. What I've now added is Amazon share of search, and the source for this right now is data for SEO. But I'm going to be updating it with more. In future versions I may be updating it with other sources as well. So this basically gives you a bulk search volume, and this is your search volume, as you can see, for Nike on Amazon. And now, so yeah, and like I said, so it provides average volumes, and this monthly trend will be repeated to get your evolution. So basically it's a bulk search volume, and what you get from Nike is the value of which is 40.47, which is again much higher, as you can see. That's your share of search, by the way. That's how it has been plotted among all the values. So the actual values here, the actual volumes are given here. So Nike also dominates on Amazon, not surprisingly. Again, the same way, the pie chart and the raw data table is given here, and you can also download that. If you want to go to the combiner, so what this does is, obviously it gives you a whole picture rather than just giving you platform wise. So it also gives you the value for entire Amazon and Google combined together. Now these are the two most important platforms. So if you get combined share of search, this is actually much better, and you can actually now take a look at the comparison, because if you look at Google share of search, you look at Amazon share of search, you get a comparative picture of how the combined looks, with respect to the individual platforms share of search values. That's also very interesting to take a look at, get the total volume, and then you can actually see how by Amazon and Google what's the percentage contribution. You can see Google is by far much larger, not surprisingly, because that's like generic, right? All kinds of searches, people will first go to Google, even if they're not doing something to immediately make a purchase, but just sort of researching. And also upper funnel activity will be captured by Google. So no, not surprisingly, it's far more comprehensive and exhaustive than Amazon is much more like towards the point of purchase, or is much more bottom of the funnel, and it's much more transactional in nature. But it makes sense to include these two. One of the reasons I didn't at first do this, because this might not be relevant for every kind of brand. If it's, for instance, service sector, or something that just doesn't make sense, or is not particularly relevant for Amazon to be included in this, and therefore I'd left it out. But it makes sense if it's there. So what I've done is I've just made it optional, in the upload section of this app, so you can just decide whether or not to even include it. So you can do just Google, you can do just Amazon, or you can do both. That's how it works right now. And this is the total combined table, and you get the total volumes, and individual and the combined share of search as well. So pretty simple, but it does the job. And like I said, I'm going to be adding filters, and if you have any further suggestions of updating this app, for now this is free, and yeah, I can't tell about the future, but this works, and you don't have to use any third-party tools for something that is as simple as this, to be honest. And yeah, if you need any help, if you want ideas how you can build this for yourself, or your own agency, or your own brand, do let me know in the comments. To reach out to me. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.